Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to my lecturer. Saya Siddiq Encik Ahmad. My name is Muhammad Hariz bin ZAHRULLAIL and my matric number is 01DT1F1029. So today I will demonstrate and present for this practical exercise 2. So in this practical exercise 2 requirement, we have to demonstrate for the troubleshooting on this network, which is the topology that has been given. Now let's go through to the packet tester. So this is a packet tester, and then this is for load configuration to the device. And then for the troubleshooting, we go first to the Putrajaya. So for the Putrajaya, it has detect some error in this configuration, and this is for this highlight. This is one of that's not configured or not given in this task, but it should have to do in this Putrajaya router. And then for this yellow highlight, this is one of a fault configuration. So let's see the fault of the configuration and let's fix it. Now we go through to the Putrajaya router. Then we just go to the configuration. And then we go to show run to see. So as you can see here, there's no router ID on this OSPF one, and then the default originate of the OSPF because this is as a act like as a edge router. And then for the transport input, there must be input SSH. And then there's also in this Putrajaya router, there's no service timestamp log date and time at MSEC. Now let's fix it. Go to the configuration terminal, then fix it for the router OSPF, which is router ID. Then we just put for the router ID, which is 1.1.1.1, and then we just exit. And then for the next, also we just go to the same router OSPF, and then we have to add default information originate. Then just click enter. So that's all for the OSPF problem. And then let's see to the transport one. So for the transport one, I have been configured. As you can see here by show run, you can see the transport input by none has been fixed to transport input SSH. So for this next, which is a service timestamp, so as you can see, there's no service timestamp that has been configured. So just configure it. We just type service timestamp log date time MSEC. So here we go. By show running config, we just see or summarize from the configuration. Now let's go through to the next router, which is router Johor. So for this router Johor, the problem has been detected. As you can see, there's no router ID. By right, we just given the router ID, which is 2.2.2.2, and then the NTP server is a fault. It should be the 74.9.44.232. So this is a fault IP address. And then for logging host also is a fault. This should be 10.100 to 6.2.44.1. So let's fix it on this router, which is router Johor. So just go to the router OSPF1. Oops. Router OSPF1. Then we just add the router ID 2.2.2. Then just exit. For the next, we just have to go to the NTP. By type NTP server, and then we have to use the right NTP server reference, which is this interface. So we use 74.9.44.232. Next, we just NTP update to keep updating. And then for the logging host, we have to log in to the right place, which is this syslog server. So we just put the IP syslog server, which is 10.126 192.44.2. Alright. So as you can see here, the syslog server service has been started. So that's all for the router Johor. Now let's go through for the next router, which is router Perak, which is this router. So the problem has been defined here. The problem is there's no router ID, and then for the router or SPF configuration also, this is a false IP network or IP for a network address. And then there's no service timestamp log date time, and then there's no server NTP server, and it's not update the calendar. Now let's fix to configure it. We just open the router and then we just go and pair it. Alright, by show run, as you can see here, there's no service, there's no the router ID, and then router ID also is false. It's use 21, and then let's fix it. Okay, we configure first for the router ID. It's use 3.3.3, and then for the network, we just remove this network. Just paste here. So we select the correct one. So for the network or SPF, it should be this router or connection, which is 214.190.44.160. So configure it in this router or SPF one. We just configure the correct one. For the wildcard mask is still use .3. Alright, so as you can see here, it's same as this IP. Alright, so it's done for this router or SPF configuration, and then you just configure also for this service timestamp by type service timestamp log date time and sec. And then for the NTP, we just go to the NTP server. So for the NTP server, we just look at for this interface. So just type 214.190.44.162. Alright, and then we just update the calendar by NTP update calendar. Alright, it's done for this router Perak. So as you can see here, the syslog information has been appear here. It's mean the configuration is successful. Alright, now let's continue for this switch, which is switch bursting. So for this problem that has been identified is on the switch port, and then it is for the transport input, and then IP gateway. So for this switch, we have to check first by type the command show running. So as you can see here, for this interface F11 is designed for VLAN 99. So it should be for the VLAN 10, because this is allow for this PMJ PC to get out from this network to reach to the other network on this topology. Alright, so that's one. And then the transport input is none here, so we have to configure it to the transport input SSH. And then for the IP, there's no IP gateway. So let's configure first for this switch port access. So we have to jump into the interface F011, and then we have to on the switch port on. We have to remove first for the switch port access VLAN 99. So we just copy from this and then we just remove by command no. So we just put a new one, which is sysport access for the VLAN 10, which is this VLAN. Alright, now let's verify. And so as you can see here, the VLAN has been changed to this VLAN 10. And then for the next troubleshooting is on transport input SSH. So by right, we have to into the config terminal first, and then we have to go to the line VT104 for this transport input SSH. So it's done. Now let's verify it by show run. So as you can see here, this transport input SSH has been enabled or configured. Now let's see or configure for the next, which is IP gateway. So for this IP gateway, we just go to this command, and then we have to verify by this network, which is 10.126.44.66. So for the IP default gateway, we have to use 10.126.44.65. So it's refer to this interface as a default gateway. So we just type for 10.126.44.65 as alright. Now let's see verify it on this show run. So as you can see here, the IP default gateway has been configured. By right, this network should be able to ping to this Putrajaya and this Perak also. So let's see. Alright, so as you can see here, the ping status is successful. Right? Okay. Now let's go move to the next switch, which is IPO switch. So on this IPO switch problem, let's be more on this switch port in the interface F11, and then it's just same also with the fault IP gateway. It should be this interface as a default gateway, and then this is unrecognized IP on this topology. So let's verify first by ping from this PO to this router. Now let's see if you ping, the PDU packet cannot be transferred or pinged successfully. So it might be on the switch port, which is a VLAN. So let's troubleshooting it. So we just go into the IPO router or switch. We just go to the config T, and then we jump into this interface fast internet 11, and then for this is this configuration, just to verify first by show running. So as you can see here, in this interface fast internet, the switch port mode trunk has been disabled this ping to the other to the network. So we have to remove this mode trunk. So we just paste here, and then we just type no on its front of the sentence, and then you just click, and then we have to put the right one, which is a switch port mode access for the VLAN 20 here. So this after we configure the switch port VLAN, it will enable this PUO network to ping to this other router, otherwise in Perak, Johor, and Putrajaya. So let's go to the switch port mode access. Then switch port access to for the VLAN 20. Alright. So as you can see here, in this interface fast internet, the sysport access VLAN 20 has been assigned. Now for the last one, which is IP default gateway problem. So as you can see here, this is a default one. By right, it must be used for this IP, which is 172.16.99.129. Alright, so for this IP gateway, just remove it. So we just paste here. This is for IP before because it use 11. By right, it must be 16. So we just remove by no command, and then we just put the new one. We just change this part, which is can have to be 16. Alright, by right, just get enter, and then for the verify, it must be this IP or as a default gateway. So for this troubleshooting, I will ping to the from PO to Putrajaya, and then as you can see here, the ping is successful. And then after we successfully configure all of the troubleshooting that have been done, including the problem, we have to verify from this server, which is syslog server, that has been recorded or not of the session or log to this syslog server. Alright, so as you can see here, by on the service, you can see the log has been captured by this syslog server, which is jppkk of each router. So this is a differentiation before and after we configure for the service timestamp that has misconfigured before. And then for the NTP, we have to define also. So let's see if the NTP is successfully synchronized or not. So by type is you can have to see the NTP status. We just show for the NTP status here. Alright, so as you can see here, the clock might be synchronized. It will take a few minutes or second for a delay. Alright, so as you can see in this Perak router, the clock is synchronized by the Stratum level 5. And then to verify from this NTP master, which is Putrajaya, alright, so we have to just show clock detail. So its time is from NTP, and then let's see to the Johor back if the status is synchronized or not. So it might be delay. So as a different method to get ping or synchronize faster as can, is just to retype back the NTP server, which is this port 74.9.44.233. Alright, so we just update the NTP calendar. So as you can see here, this clock from this Johor router has been synchronized. So I think that's all for me for this practical exercise demonstration. Thank you for watching.